The AliExpress back to school sale is upon us. These guys are like DFS, any excuse to call something a sale. But if it means discounted watches, then I'm here for it. I have 10 watches to show you today that I think are incredible value. Most of them between £50 and £100. And if you stick around to the end, I'm gonna show you a tourbillon piece for less, yes, less than £200. Hi guys, my name is Jason and I am your watch guy today. What more do you want than 10 incredible deals to start your week with? From bargain basement to insane specifications for the value. I've listed all of these watches in the description in the stores that I found them in. Make sure you use any discount codes available if you want to pick one up, or if you're going to buy something completely different, use the codes, save some money. Now, let's get into it. Let's start ourselves with a market favourite, St. Martin. I've mentioned this watch in one of my top 5 videos before, and that's because I think it's insane value with an NH34 movement and incredible looks. It incorporates features from 2 of the most classic pieces on the market, the Tudor Black Bay GMT and the Explorer 2. I know these snowflake handsets are like Marmite, but some people are massive fans of them. And I think if they're done well, I'm a fan too. But I am more of a fan of the classic white Explorer 2 colour options. It's a 39mm casing, which means it's perfect for wrist sizes like my own. Beyond that, it's got incredible levels of finishing that you can only see on St. Martin at this price level. The applied index option comes in just over £115, and the printed dial option comes in just below 110. Personally, I'd have to opt for the applied indices. It just adds so much more quality to the watch overall and the aesthetic of the piece. Genuinely, for around the £100 mark, slightly over, I don't think there's any better quality of watch. I don't think there's a better deal as long as you are okay with the homage styles that they offer. It's linked in the description from the St. Martin official store. I've kept this list incredibly budget this time around. I even think that depending on how generous your parents are, some kids going back to school could probably pick these up with their pocket money. Especially this one, considering it comes in at a mere £47. This one comes from the most historic brand in China. Of course, I'm talking about Seagull. This dress aesthetic piece is the perfect shirt or office wear. The classic styling is something I think we can all get on board with. The ST17 movement allows for a 21,600 beat per hour sweep and a 38-hour power reserve. As well as that, it's pretty well decorated considering the price of it and where it originates from. And you can see all of that through the fantastic display caseback that I know a lot of budget collectors love. I could definitely see this watch being the go-to for any sort of dress occasion. There's an option of either a white or a black dial. Personally, I'd have to opt for the white. I think it just gives that more classic, clean aesthetic overall. This one's available from the Seagull Choice store on AliExpress. Now on to one of the most expensive watches on today's list. That comes in at £96. HROUDLAND are a brand that pack in way more quality than they have any right to, considering the price of their pieces. This is their Pilot chronograph piece that is running a VK64 movement. That movement is probably the only budget part of this watch. I love that they've incorporated that ceramic countdown bezel, as it's not something that you really see on the market, never mind on AliExpress. The crystal is sapphire, and this loom shot shows that they have packed in everything that I expect on a good loom shot, including incorporating the bezel markings. They claim that this 100-meter water resistance will cover you from splash proof to drenched, which is a very weird yet quite smart way of describing your waterproofing. The navy blue and black options give you a nice choice to be made. I think that the black definitely gives you more of a vintage aesthetic overall. They've hammered home that vintage style with some lovely script around the 6 o'clock. All considered, I think that this is a pretty brilliant deal for less than £100, especially considering the quality that I know that we get from HROUDLAND. This one is available from the ATIM store. Let's move on to another classic that seems to be a better bargain every time that I look at it. When this piece was £70, I thought it was a solid deal. When it was £50, I thought it was a bargain. Now that it's less than £40, I think it's a no-brainer. The Pagani Design PD1644 is a brilliant accompaniment to any watch collection if you are looking for a super budget chronograph that packs in a ridiculous amount of features. As well as that, Pagani Design offer an incredible amount of variations to this piece. The Panda option is obviously the most popular, considering the watch that it actually homages. The ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, screw down pushers and crown, and the reliability of a VK64 Seiko movement below £40 doesn't just make this a no-brainer, it's a ridiculous deal. If you like the look of it, go buy it. I could go on all day about why this is probably one of the best budget watches that you can pick up, but I think I can wrap that all up in one sentence, and it's definitely one that you're all going to shout at me for in the comments, but this is probably the best budget watch on the market. It's available on the Pagani Design men's watch store. This next brand have previously sent me a watch. However, when they did and I received it, I did not think it was the quality that I should have been for the price that they were asking, and therefore I didn't really want to show you guys. Yeah, call me a sellout now. However, since that, they have released a couple of really fantastic pieces that I've actually seen in reviews, and I've also received an email telling me that they are rebranding because of the ridiculous name that they chose. This is the WELLY MERCK MOONPHASE. Now, before we get into this, we know why genuine MOONPHASE complication is, and this isn't one of them, but it looks pretty good. This is basically a date indicator, but with the moons displaying the date instead. I know that may sound confusing, but you'll get it once you look at the video. All of that being said and out of the way, this comes in for less than £100. It's a stunning watch, and you've kind of got to give it to them. There is a little bit of innovation behind that. Even more impressive is the lume signature. They have basically created a starry night effect with the lume signature and lume, the two moon indicators. I think that's a really pretty thing to look at. With it being such a budget piece, it's got to be worth it. Now, I know that this brand is moving in the right direction because this is actually one that I would love to have on my channel and love to show you guys. And that's all happened in a very small amount of time. It's backed with a Hangzhou 7200A movement. Say that after a few pints. Now that packs in a standard automatic beat, but it also has a 72-hour power reserve. And it's all displayed very nicely through the case back. At £95 in the sale, I think that this should be top of plenty of your lists. Coming from the WELLY MERCK official store. Okay, this next one isn't exactly back to school, unless you're heading back to Eton or any other Tory breeding grounds. However, it's definitely worth mentioning. I've spotted these SUGESS models on Instagram a few times and they look incredible. SUGESS are another brand like St. Martin that definitely offer way more quality than they really should for the price that they offer their watches at, especially when it comes to the finishing of their pieces and the build quality. This is their day-date homage, and I've got to say, I'm not usually a bling watch type of guy, but this one really does it for me. Diamond set pieces have never really been something that I look at, but this one's done incredibly well considering the price of it. They'll definitely add something to your collection, and if something adds something to your collection, I definitely think it's worth talking about. It's running the Peacock SL3034 movement, which I personally believe is a massive step up on the other Myota options that they could have gone with. This allows for the day feature that you see at the 12 o'clock, something that is synonymous with the obvious renowned Rolex model that this piece is homaging. They fitted them with mother of pearl dials and diamond-like indices, and it just looks quality to me. It's an acquired taste, I know, but it's definitely something that I think I and a lot of you could get on board with. The silver case variants are coming in at around £172 in the sale, with the rose gold variants at £180, Both, I think, pretty fantastic prices. And that's from the SUGESS official store. Class is not something that you usually associate with a watch under £40, but in this case, I really don't think it can be denied. Berny's ultra thin dress piece has to be one of the nicest dials that I have seen on the Aliexpress market for less than £100. Never mind half of that. It has a guilloche pattern with a 6 o'clock second sub-dial. It gives a very refined look to the watch overall. And this piece makes for the perfect dress piece as it comes in at around 7.5mm thick. It does have some downfalls. Obviously, as a mineral crystal, it's a quartz movement. And of course, the name on the dial is one that you would associate with an old man sat in the corner of the pub at about 2 o'clock on a Wednesday. That being said, it still definitely looks the part. I think that Beny are probably the most deserving brand on the AliExpress market of a name change, but they're not the worst I've seen. The likes of Biden and Skimmy come to mind. This one's available from the Beny watch store. If you know me and you know my obsession for 1953 divers, you'll know that I have the biggest soft spot for a 50 Fathoms homage. But if you wanted to pick up the same type of Blancpain 50 Fathoms, you'd be looking at the same type of price range as a 2020 BMW 4 Series M Sport. If I'm honest, I'd probably be tempted to take the car. However, this WATCHDIVES homage comes in at less than £70 in the sale this week, and it packs a pretty decent spec sheet. A K1 mineral crystal, NH35 movement, and a sand blasted effect to the casing to bring home that vintage look. Alternatively, you can pay just under £90 and get one with a sapphire crystal in a titanium casing. The options there are numerous and definitely means that there's something for all of us. The radio featured dial is definitely not something that we see in modern watchmaking. It brings me back to vintage dive style pieces, and certainly it isn't something that's accessible to the common market these days. WATCHDIVES are still an emerging brand on the market, but from what I've seen in other reviewers' videos on them, they're decent quality. This one's available from the WATCHDIVES official store. I mentioned earlier how bad Berny's brand name was, and I think that this one's definitely up there with them. That being said, Mysterious Code definitely offer a lot of value for your money, and I think that's what today's list is all about. I've erred away from them in the past, simply because of that brand name. The Aviator piece that I am featuring today is backed with a VK63 movement. It has a domed hardlex crystal that really helps with that vintage Aviator style, and a very lovely textured dial that just adds to the visuals of the piece. It's offered at less than £40 in the sale. To put that into perspective, that's a fifth of a Seiko 5KX, or it's 2 basic Casios. I've personally spent more on a singular double whiskey. The colour variants that they've added to this line really make them the perfect summer accompaniment, but they also offer them in more classic colour options if that's the type of all year round wear that you're looking for. I mean, at this price, why not pick up 2? This one's available from the Heimdallr direct watch store. You may not have believed me when I said I am finishing with a Tourbillon piece for less than £200, but here it is. This AESOP Tourbillon comes in 2 forms. You can either pick it up with the 7061 movement or the 7021. The 7061 is the cheaper option and it comes in around £185. The Tourbillon feature on that particular movement definitely looks a little bit more clunky, and you can see why there is a price difference between the two, but still gives you that tourbillon effect. The 7021 definitely looks much more refined in nature and gives you a much more pleasing visual on wrist. I think it's well worth the extra £15. I've had a piece with the 7021 in before. I reviewed it on the channel. I absolutely loved it. I adored it. I wore it for about a year and then sold it on to a friend that had also fallen in love with it. I mean, who can blame him? But this one is much more refined and classic and dare I say, tasteful. The blued breguet style hands, the simple white dial, and the overall refined nature of the piece is definitely completely different to the one that I experienced. And I think that accents the complex nature of that tourbillon feature at the 6 o'clock really well. Because after all, I'm going to tell you now, that's what catches your eye. When you're spending less than £200, this is something that you just simply should not be able to pick up. This one is available through the AESOP flagship store on Aliexpress. Thanks for watching today, guys. As I said, it's a really weird excuse for a sale considering I review watches, but I'll take any chance to highlight some bargains for you. They are all linked individually in the description. A reminder that they are affiliate links and they really do help the channel. If you wanted to buy anything in the sale, I'd be eternally grateful if you could use one of the links below. Remember to subscribe to the channel because I have got plenty more bargain pieces to show you this week, and I'll see you in the next one.